Okay, we are making a history today.
Hey.
This is season 2 of the Chair Speaks podcast. This is going to be crazy. But Kirk, tell us what's going down.
Woo-wee! Okay, this is very exciting. Those of you out there who have been watching can notice that the set might look a little bit different. We have a third chair, and this is not us bringing in another podcast member. Definitely not. But what it is, this is our first segment where we will be interviewing someone.
Hey.
We will be doing this periodically.
Yes.
And what we'll be doing is highlighting the very special and influential black men in this city as they rise to the top. So our first interview ever on the podcast is a young man. I think I can still call him a young man. He is
roast him. Come on.
He is the CEO of an up and coming franchise.
Yes.
Dare I say?
Yes.
Very skillful.
Yep.
We're gonna get into his backstory, and where he's from, where he's going, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Pierre St.Rose. Crumbs, Patties, everyone.
What's up?
All right.
What's up?
Oh shoot!
And he brings gifts.
What's this? You brought some treats?
And he brings gifts.
It's okay. Take your time. Oh man! Oh, we gotta get close. Oh my goodness! Woo! We gotta get close up. With those.
You want me to take one right now?
Oh my gosh!
Talk and eat.
Let me
All right. Where's the paper towels, man?
take one of these.
Patties. Morning.
Oh man! All right. So, this is what? This is not. This is all me, or?
Hey.
Oh shoot! Oh sorry. All right, I'll take one. Oh man, fresh. They're warm too.
Okay, hold on a second.
What does it mean?
So
what does it mean? You were working this morning?
One patty, many crumbs. Okay, let's see if that's true.
Oh, he's going in first.
Yep. I got some crumbs, right?
You got some crumbs?
Yep, I got crumbs.
All right, Monsieur Pierre. I'm gonna say Monsieur because your name is Pierre. So black man with a French name. What's the background?
You on that?
Pierre? No, you grow into it there. My mother liked Pierre Trudeau.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yes. So my mother liked Pierre Trudeau, and she coming from Jamaica, and during that time where Pierre allowed a lot of immigrants to come in, she liked them to honor him, and she liked the name, so that's where Pierre came in, and then the whole Pierre St.Rose.
That makes sense.
Pierre Andre Cliff St.Rose.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
So
4 middle names.
Jamaican mother. Are you from Toronto?
From Toronto. There, Jamaican mother, Trinidadian dad.
Okay.
Father. Yes.
I knew I liked you.
That's wicked. You actually encompass the partnership we have.
Yeah.
Jamaican, Trinidadian. All right.
Best of both worlds. Again, sometimes I get into fights with myself, man versus yourself, but it's good, and not knocking any other worlds out there, but yes, that's my background there.
All right. So, look like you got something besides food in your mouth.
Okay.
How was it?
These are pretty good. Now, how did you know that this was going to be a good patty? Like, did you go through like stages of making patties? Did you work in a patty shop? Did you?
You know what? That's what I wanted to get into. Like before all this the patty business and all that. Were you like always an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say that, like entrepreneur, but at the same time, always having ideas. Just thinking, like one of the things I remember, a lot of our friends, we would go out, and I would bring this piece of paper, and with that piece of paper, I'd be writing down some type of idea or some type of thing. So it was just in that, and then working in the corporate world and everything like that.
Yeah.
You would, I would have an idea of doing certain things differently. So from that, I was just translating that into why not get into your own business.
So you said corporate world. Well, can you say specifically? I don't know What do you mean by corporate world? What were you doing before the patty business?
Well, before the patty business, I was a liquor rep
Oh shoot,
downtown Toronto.
A liquor rep?
Liquor rep.
liquor.
I thought you said like a liquor rep, like Jamaican, like I'm a liquor rep. It didn't sound like that.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, yo, a liquor rep, yo.
But no, I was a liquor rep for downtown Toronto. It was, I'm going to tell you, a great experience. Got to see the world in a different light. And in terms of from a restaurant, and it's interesting where I'm in the restaurant field, but from dealing with managers and restaurant or and bar owners, so you see a different lifestyle. And then on top of that, my job was more of to be man about town.
Okay,
So
okay. We might be getting into something here.
right. So it was one of those things where I'm gonna be honest. I had a budget of $150,000 upwards, and it was just to go out and spend, drink.
That's like for the year.
That was for the year.
Oh
right?
wow! Okay.
And it was just one of those things where great, opportunity, but at the same time you have to know when to shut it down or just know when, because alcohol is a thing that can take you for the ride of your life. And if you understand what I'm saying. So it was a great opportunity, and unfortunately just how things kind of segue, got injured, and then just kind of it kind of was a blessing in disguise in terms of the injury that I had. You kind of have to find the next move where the company got.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You're a liquor rep, and you get this large budget to go out there and basically just, show off the brand. You're like you're showing people the lifestyle of the brand, I guess.
Well, not lifestyle, but you're more the face of the brand.
Okay,
right?
you're the face of the brand.
Yeah, you're the face of the brand. And it's a brilliant way of, instead of what other brands would do, they would spend the money to be placed there. But what it is you're building a relationship, and that relationship is with someone they can identify. So again, that was the whole thing in About Time, being able to know every place, get to build a relationship with managers and bartenders and everything like that.
So through all the this nightlife that you're partaking in, you said you got injured
Yes.
in doing the nightlife, or what kind of injury?
Kurt, it was an injury.
Yes.
Outside of the work time there, right?
Okay,
there,
okay.
right? There was a few injuries that I've sustained, but it was just one. Yeah, for the most part, it helped.
Okay.
So that doesn't look cool representing the brand with a boot on your leg in the club, does it?
It's one of those things where it became, and that's what I'm saying, it was a blessing in disguise, where at that time you had 8 years into the industry. And at that same time, is just, put it this way, 8 years of drinking almost every day.
Wow.
Right?
Almost a decade, man.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where it's great. You get to be in everyone, but at the same time, it's like, from a health perspective, it's drinking every day, late nights. Sometimes I would be out to 2, 3 in the morning, and then after turn around and be out into the office, just open bushy eye and just be able to do reports and meetings and everything like that. So
you must have had to fake it sometimes, like drinking, like pretend like you're drinking, or
and that's, you say that, there's a running joke that those who know me in the in the industry, that I was the rep that never drank, right?
yeah, because
and it's one of those things. So it's funny. The guys from they're local, and Joey's, great guys from Vancouver, who now have a bunch of locations in Toronto, in the States, and across Canada. They would always call me out on that, where I will be out drinking, and I'll make sure everyone else is drinking and having a nice time, right? But at the same time, if one of the guys called me out, he came, took my cup, smelt it, Pierce, where's the alcohol? Right? Because at the same, it's one of those things where you have to. I was never a drinker from the get-go, but it's just one of those things. Now you have the accessibility to it. You kind of have to know when to stop and when to just, today's not the day there.
So I have one question before we get into the patty side of things. I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true. That you had before all this, when you were a younger man, you had athletic aspirations, and I heard maybe you were. I heard you were, quite the track athlete. So, can you give us some background to that? Like, you ran track, and
Yes, yeah. So, sorry, I just want anything to say or add or anything?
I think Lowell had something to add.
Saw some bad feet out of the shot, and that made me laugh.
Okay.
Bad feet. That's all.
So backstory, if I may, Mr. Lowell. So we go back sometime. So the first time I don't know if Lowell will remember, the first time I met Lowell was I'm from Scarborough, grew up from Scarborough for life. Not knocking anywhere else, but Scarborough, right? I went to John Vanier Catholic School at the time, which was at Millen and Eglinton, near there. And we had summer school. And
The best year.
yes,
that was
what was
the
good.
best summer
That was
school
grade
ever.
10 or
Grade
11.
10, grade 10.
Yes, grade 10 summer school. And a lady, a mutual friend of ours, Kim, introduced us, and that's how I got to meet this guy. And it's
Wonderful world, sis.
so that the little banter that we have, it's something that, not knocking from you there, Kirk. I got to know you later on, and mind you, you lived in Scarborough, but you went to what was it, David and Mary Thompson?
no one knows about that. No one knows about that.
It was a
No
school,
one.
not knocking everyone
we'll
else. right?
highlight that later.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing where I met him, and then after school, I remember we used to go play basketball at what was it there, that basketball court?
There's a court down
down,
just at south of Gilder, yeah.
So that was the whole thing from there. So going back to what you asked in terms of, so I used to run track. Well, track was my sport, and I used to play basketball. Wasn't the best. I won't knock it. A couple of the guys.
Why are we lying on?
Why
are we lying?
No. I'm gonna tell you.
Okay,
It was
keep it professional.
yeah.
Keep it professional.
I was not to say. Yeah, I wasn't. I was. I was. The nickname was called the Tree.
Oh man.
Sir Scruff.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but the nickname was called the Tree. You
Yep.
know, I would stay right on top of the key, waiting for the ball. You know,
No
couldn't
one
dribble.
passing the ball.
I would get it, but then I would kick it out.
Yep.
And it
quickly.
was just one of those things. Like I being an athlete, a track athlete, like I could jump. Right, I won some slam dunk contests, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah. I won. I won a couple of them there, but it was just one of those things where I had to wait for the ball, and that was the most frustrating thing. And yeah, I was the Tree, they called me. So from that,
So what was your event in track?
1, 2, more of a sprinter.
Hold on a second. Just make sure you clarify, because for the public out there, the general public that's new to this, you said a 1, 2. So
1, 2. So sorry.
just be careful. It's a 1, 2. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, so my events were indoor 60, and then outdoor 100, 200 with the relay. I try to run away from the 400. Those who know that run track, 400 is a special event. They try to push you in because you're tall, but it's a special event that I try to run away from. So that's what made my name in terms of from a sports standpoint, where if you ran track, you Pierre.
So you're part of a team.
Well, it started from elementary in that sense, where being at Holy Spirit, and then we would have track meets, and it was just myself and one of my best friends, Kumar, who we used to run at that time, and we used to dominate for that time there. You even set the record for the relay team for going into, well, I think the last year of grade 8 elementary. Yeah, we're real.
Okay.
So those waves are not pretend waves, huh? They're real things.
So then it's obvious if you were excelling like that, it'd be obvious that you were thinking maybe, I don't know, scholarship, Olympics, or
Oh, definitely. And that was the thing where, how can one say, life is interesting. And what I mean by that, went to school, went to Mayor Ward training. So I was training with the likes of Randy Brooks, Randy, Adrian, Colette, Crystal, like we had a great squad over at Mary Ward and a great coach, and one of those things where he saw the potential and brought me over to Mary Ward. So from that, it was just, again, training on a different level. Mind you, I never did club track, but it was just training from, I remember track from when I remember in elementary, we would start training 2 weeks before their race. I don't know if you remember that, right? Before the big races. And then after that, there's no track.
Yeah, that's
But
elementary.
in Mirror Ward, we were training from September, right through. So, and that was something that was a change. And through that, then went to John Vanier just because the program at Mirror Ward wasn't the best. Those who know the self-learning, and it takes a different individual. So when going to Vanier, becoming an athlete over there changed it. But once I went over to college, I got into an accident. And so one of the accidents where I went into...
Where'd you go? What college?
I went to my apologies. I went to Centennial College. And
Also in Scarborough.
yes.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And during that, I was talking to a coach because at the time, the whole process was to go to school in the States. So I had some offers and everything like that. But that time when I decided that I was speaking to a school in Indiana State, and they was talking to them in terms of if I can come down even on a partial scholarship. And I had an accident. I went into I remember that. I went into Dominion Metro, and the guy wiped the one at Eglinton and...
Wait a second, we glazed over that.
I know.
He said Dominion Metro.
Metro.
A lot of people don't realize
it's real. Yes.
before Metro, it was called Dominion.
AMP.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
What?
Yeah. So there, and the guys came with the machine, and I didn't see it, and walked and slipped, like hit my head on something, and it just got to the point where from that I diagnosed where I had something on my fifth disc, so that kind of stopped me from running track for a little bit. And when I was at a time, people were saying I shouldn't have told the coach at India State that this that this happened. Just go there and see what it is. But it was just how I got into that school was through a gentleman, Craig Brown. I'm sure you remember.
Oh,
He
Craig.
was the one that vouched for me to get a scholarship. So it was one of those things where it's like I was saying in my head where, if I go there and don't produce, that's him. So from that, I just kind of went to junior college in California. And from that, never really got to... It's always that one if situation where I never got to do...
So that's right. Craig was at Indiana State.
Correct.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Craig Brown. Big up.
Yes.
That's a
Big
Scarborough
up,
legend,
sir.
right?
Big up there. And I appreciate that there. Just the whole plug. So it was just one of those things where I could have gone there, but at the same time, I don't know what I would have done. And at the end of the day, he's a gentleman that put his name on my name. So it's just one of those things where, out of respect, you say,
Integrity.
Wow.
I try to. I'm playing.
That's
No,
very-
always.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the background. Very interesting. Now let's get into these patties.
Are you gonna eat this patty? Because
I'm gonna eat this patty.
he closed the box on my side, so I'm like,
I'm gonna eat this patty.
I want his. I don't his days.
Pause.
That's Louis.
The name Crumbs.
Yes.
Where the hell does this name come from?
Crumbs. Crumbs. It's an interesting story. Interesting. The whole premise is just like why crumbs. Why crumbs is just, as you know, when you eat patties, you get a whole bunch of flakes, crumbs on your shirt or wherever you're eating.
His crumbs are white. What's going on in there?
That's some great crumb. Great crumb.
His great crumbs.
But yeah, from that, it was just honestly, that was the whole premise of that. But what really came about was just, certain things in life happen where certain times you get a calling, but the calling is very weird and it's not right. But this one where the opportunity where I wanted to open up a place, a patty place, and just the names, how that came around
Why
was...
Patties? You went from rum to Patties, bro. Sorry, rum
run
to rum
to
Patties.
patties. So funny.
Listen, I gotta ask a
RP.
formal question. What's the white patties? I'm gonna go even deeper. Okay.
Pause. Yeah.
Pause. In Toronto, patties are staple.
Yes.
It is not in many cities. It also is in New York. You know, growing up, beef patty, cocoa bread. Now, a lot of people might not realize it's unique to Jamaica. That's why it's called a Jamaican beef patty,
True.
right? Now, the industry is dominated by people that don't look like us. What I would like to know is, how can I say this? How did you break in and learn how to make such a good patty in an industry that's dominated by people? I'm going to just say it. It's dominated by Jamaican Chinese people, Chinese Jamaican people. And a lot of people might not know, they tend to want to keep that industry to themselves, right? It's booming. It's great business for them. They want to keep to themselves. A lot of people don't know that a lot of these major patty companies are intertwined together. So I want to hear how you not only said, okay, I want to make a patty or have a patty business, but how were you able to actually do it with those barriers?
Great. Wow.
Don't hold back.
Yeah. So the story of the whole patties is while I was working at Appleton, I would go down to Jamaica, and I'll be one of the things when I would get down there, as soon as I would land in Kingston, I would get a beef and cheese patty.
From what?
For what company was Juicy Beef.
Juicy Beef.
Yeah, Juicy Beef. Like beef and cheese are really, and those who haven't had it or just haven't had our patties, our remix patty there, it just takes the patty to a whole different level. But from that, just being down there and then seeing what patties is, and patties is a whole different thing in Jamaica, right? So from that being said, that's where the whole idea of saying, from the run to the rum to the patties, where it was an idea, but as I said, the injuries that I've had, you have to kind of look, what's the next move, right? So from that coming back, seeing that there are patties, but coming back to Toronto, but see there are patties, but at the same time, patties are still seen as a very cheap item in that sense, right? And that was the key thing where I to this day, it's the weirdest thing where patties, how in this day, I don't understand why a patty is seen as so cheap, but something. Prime example: you go to a mall, a patty is still what $2.50, where you go
Even $2. My
that.
local store is
Yeah.
$2.
Well,
for a
I'm
patty.
just to give you a perspective, but at the same time, you go a Cinnabon, it's $6 for. Right, you go to Mr. Pretzel, it's $5.50. Right, you go Colonel's popcorn, flavored popcorn, something, right, and it's $6 for a small bag. But again, anytime when it becomes a patty, it's just like, oh, $3, and this thing has meat.
And the patty is actually a meal. Those other items you mentioned aren't even meals.
Yeah, I wouldn't say patties in how, and this is what my mentor kind of showed me and understand. But patties was not to say a meal, it was a snack, but a filling snack, right? Where it was, how can I say? It's to carry you through until dinner, right? Like that's why it's so big in the TTC stations where you're on your way home. So it's that in between until you get it. So it holds you, right? And that being said, so the rise. So when I decided I wanted to open up a patty shop, and I didn't have no patty experience, right? And it's so funny. The story to that, where I remember going to a lot of the patty big guys and just saying, "Hey, would you teach me?" And a lot of we're still in Chinese Jamaican, where they're a lot of owned, but again, to their point, where to their side is, you don't want to let anyone, because you don't know who. There's no tie to it, right? So with that being said, you knock on the door and see if there's an opportunity. I remember there was a lady by the name of Queen Mother. She has a store over at Lansdowne and Queen. And I remember knocking on her door. I asked if she can teach me. And funny,
You went door to door knocking.
door to door. You don't understand. Like, sorry, I was. And most patty companies I went to, I knocked on the door just saying, "Hey, can you teach me?" Even if I would pay you, right? And it's I went to her and she kind of funny stuff, and one of those things where she laughed and she said, "quote unquote," "I'm stupid," and because she knew my mother. She and my mother were in the baking field, right?
Okay.
And she said that your mother was a great baker. Why do you never learn from that? And it was just, again, at that time, my mind wasn't there, right? Where it's just, that wasn't my thing in terms of baking. No.
Yeah.
Right? So it was that. And I remember she saying that you should have learned from your mother. Okay, my mom's passed, but let's eat, right? So from that, then I remember going over to Randy's asking, and it was just, again, during that time, I think they were going through a whole different thing. And then went over to Patty Time. And funny thing, I remember knocking at his door and he kind of said, "No, but asking me what my idea was," right? And I laughed, "Mr. Mark, how you doing there?" Right? But it was just one of those things where that's what it is. And then great thing, I was put in contact with Tanels, Austin, sorry, and he, willing to not to say teach me in a sense, because his whole thing was he's more on a federal end, so the time won't be there, but he kind of said that, "Hey, you can use my patties," which was great, but at the same time, that's not what I was looking for. I wanted my own, how do you, from start to finish, and then from there, just take it from another level. So with that being said, I, went to YouTube. Like, if you ever see the picture of our first patty, it's interesting, right? But it's going from that to where it is, what you see now is an interesting story. And then from that, I saw, how does one say, I met my mentor, who Chinese Jamaican, and again, and what I mean by that, where he was very hesitant to let me in. And I remember for 3 hours I was on the phone, and he was kind of just breaking it down in terms of, who am I, what am I about, and this was one of the things where it was like a job interview, right? But it was one of those things where, again, the culture, it's an interesting story, because the question we say where the Chinese Jamaicans have brought patties here and took it to a whole different level and push it. Not to say, because I don't know if you ever watched the patty documentary where you have Michael from Patty Palace. He's done a lot, but at the same time, again, he was there, but there was a lot of others in the background who kind of pushed and championed the patty industry. And it is what it is. Chinese, Jamaican, everyone just built the industry. So to kind of be singling out, saying that that Chinese Jamaican kind of held around, yes, because at the end of the day, what I would say is, I remember when I wanted to start Crumbs, and I would go to a lot of my friends and I would say, "Hey, I'm starting the patty business," and they will kind of look at it and say, "Patties?" Like, they looked at it as very cheap, right? Where you look at it and I'm telling you, to be honest, you look at Chinese Jamaican, they didn't look at it as cheap. They see it as a business, right? Seeing it where, one of my phrases, which I don't know if you know, there's a saying, "Little money makes enough money," right? And what that means in terms of where, hey, it could be 10 cents, it could be 20 cents, but a lot of it will make a lot of money. And that's one of the things where I believe the Chinese Jamaicans understood that value of, and just bringing it over and just taking it to a whole different level where, multiplying, right? And where, again, just the blacks probably just didn't see it, and to be honest, didn't see the business side of it.
But you did.
No, it's not me, because there's others that see it, right? But it's just to answer your point where it's a guarded industry. And it's so funny. I remember 2 weeks after this guy laughing about.
I'm sorry, man, but the way you said the blacks, is in reference to me, how Dave Chappelle talks about the whites. He says, "Well, you see the whites," and he says stuff like that. And the funny thing is, when you're saying it, I literally understand. It's not just like you're not saying black people. You're saying the mentality, right? And it's very important to understand that what he's saying is liquor money makes enough money, and when the mentality of our culture only looks at big things to become bigger, it ruins any real compound effect that you can have when it comes to anything becoming what it is, right? And it's important. And I'm not saying that obviously all black people don't think the same, but I'm glad that you mention it like that. Hit it right where it's supposed to be, because it's important. It's important to know that.
And at the same time, some would say like, why you like it's and this is my story, and it's just I remember I went to the streets, and I also went to those who had money, and I also went to the banks. And again, when I brought up Patties, it was just seen as right. Even I remember my cousin before we opened up a store on Young Street, and this was the deciding, like one of those things where she came and said, "Pierre, you sure you'll be able to pay the rent on Young Street?" Right? Because again, the mentality is just a patty, right? And I'm just, no, yeah, it can be done. And lo and behold, this is the story. So to your point where it just sometimes we don't see the bigger picture until later when the picture is big and we try to jump on it, right? Where it's just one of those things where, and what you're asking where, it's a guarded industry. Going back to the point where I remember our second week when we opened, a lady, Chinese Jamaican lady, I remember, she came in and it was the weirdest. She came in, what family are you from? No, and it was just like it was.
Yeah, it's very,
what family? Just
very
who
guarded.
Are you? Who are you? And it was just like, no, my name is Pierre. St.Rose. And as soon as I didn't give her the answer, it just disappeared. And I remember asking my mentor that question, like, who's this? And she, Pierre, that's the industry, right? So it's just, I look at it on this end. It's if for that person to come, you're on the right track. Right, like it's one of those things where it's not disrupting, but there becomes one of those things where, yeah, something's being going for someone to come and.
I tell you what, and you know what? I like it. I respect it. Like, I'm not gonna knock what they've done, because some people might think it's cutthroat or trying to. I'm not saying they have tried to alienate other people, but they have. But I it's good business.
Yeah,
It's good business.
And rightfully so. Like you see it where you understand it, and it's just one of those things where I wish just have an understanding and trying to see we can play. We can go to that table, right? And at the same time, we don't. Why not? Just look for, and that's why I just tell it to the younger generation. It's just find something. And what I mean by that, where sometimes just instead of being on your phone, Olivia, sorry, that's my daughter. She's in.
Put down the phone, Olivia.
Yeah. And here it is. Where it's like I tell other kids put down their phone, but that's another situation. But hi, Miss Olivia. But it's just put down the phone and go on walks and just see what's needed, right? And I can't stress it enough. Like there's always something needed, and maybe it's something that's there, but you need to twist it. And one of the things where I learned from school was, it was the weirdest when I first heard it. So in school, there's one of the teachers, and I don't want to say his name, but what he said was, it's no longer about research and development. It's rob and duplicate. And you sit there and you look and you take it in and you sit and I say, when I first heard that, I said,
yuck. Yeah. Because it baffles your mind, because you've been taught to play fair the whole time.
But it's not about fair. It's just, here it is. Say if you, prime example, look at I sell patties, right? And at the same time, what's so different from my patty to everyone else's patties? It's still a patty, but it's all in what you do with that patty, from the formula to the mixing, the blending, everything like that. So it's, yeah, in that sense where you look at it, oh, whoa, rob and duplicate, but at the same time, it's taking something and changing it, and you might hit. And even if if you take it and change it, it's not saying you're going to make a whole bunch of money on it, but at the same time, you just maybe take it, change it, and put it in this lane and go that way, versus trying to go the same way everyone else is going. And that's what we try to do at Crumbs, where there are other companies that are doing a lot of things, which is great. And I never knock another patty or who's the best. And I would never say Crumbs is the best, because the best is very subjective. No, why? No, and I learned that from, again, my days in the liquor world, where how can you say you're the best? And hear me when I'm saying, where your best, my best is two different things. The way you taste, the way you like things is totally different. All I can do is just, this is what it is. This is what I offer. Hey, if you like it, that's it, right? But at the same time, the saying the best is very subjective. And in a patty stance, where you have pastry and then you have filling. There's some people that, like, I've had people come to the store, ask for a patty. There's a lady, she would ask me to wipe out the filling.
Wipe out the filling.
Yes.
She didn't want the meat inside?
No.
Just wanted the crust.
Their crust.
Wow.
Right? So it's that, from seeing and going through that, is just like, I would never take that claim as the best.
So you got the best crust?
But yeah, but that's it. It's just one of those things where, again, with the whole, go in.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to go through before we get to wrap it up. You went over the name Crumbs. What makes your patty? I think I know, because I've tasted it, and I've tasted the different types of patties you have. What makes your patty different than, the Randys, the Allens, the Tennille's, and all those other ones out there?
I can't speak in terms of for other patties places. I can talk for our patties, but one of the things, and what I've learned from my mentor is, what I would say from our patty is our pastry, right? And what I mean by that, and this is the thing where I kind of get mad at the industry in itself, where those who have patty understand that patties is not easy to make. It takes a long time to make. So why are we pricing it not where it's supposed to be, right? But what sets us apart is a pastry, and is one of I remember at a time when I was in the factory a lot, and it was just one of those things where letting it sit, right? Everyone can make the patty the same way, but again, the process in terms of the equipment that you use, and again, letting the pastry sit. And once you're in the baking field, you're understanding it. Not overworking the dough and letting it sit is key. And I had to learn that for some years, because at the end of the day, you try to rush the process. But and with anything, and working with pastry, you realize you can kind of take that into the business world, where you can't rush success.
I would agree with you. The patty, the pastry is unique. I'm gonna go on record by saying this is my favorite patty.
Yeah, it is my favorite.
And I eat a lot of patties. My whole life.
We know that.
Yeah. I eat a lot of patties. My whole life, I've been raised on patties. I had a favorite before. I'll tell you, my favorite before your patty was Allen's. Allen's was my favorite. So maybe I'm a pastry guy, because I like their pastry.
And Allen's, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Allen's great pastry, and a totally different pastry, right? Like, I would say, and this is my thought, Allen's pastry is more of a puff. So if like, when you eat it, it's a mess. Like, being from, if like, going to Allen's, make sure you have a cover or something.
Yeah,
because
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's
yeah,
everywhere.
your car will get it, right? But it's that's what I would say our pastry kind of sets us apart, and it's just one of those things where when I say we have a lot of things that we like to kind of showcase to the world in terms of like fillings and everything, but that so right now it's just building or getting our own manufacturing to kind of take it to another level.
All right. I also like the variety of your patties. You know, you have the pizza patty. So you got of course the classic. You got the beef and cheese.
Oh yes, which again I'm gonna knock that came straight
That's
from
my
Jamaica.
favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
You have a patty. I don't know if you're allowed to mention, but you had a patty that I'm not sure if you sell it on a daily basis or when, but you made it one time and you gave it to me to try, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. You know what I'm talking about?
The breakfast patty.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, no, we can talk. It's
The breakfast patty was amazing. And I didn't think, when you told me you're going to make a patty with eggs in it, I thought gross.
Yeah.
Until I tasted it, I'm like, this is the perfect
It's amazing.
breakfast. It's like scrambled eggs in a patty.
Yeah.
So I don't know what made you come up with that.
that was just, again, it was just the industry, right? Where do you position yourself and where are you going to take it and build, make your own path. And that's the key thing, where here it is, the patty is the perfect on-the-go food, right? So at the same time, but again, I want to get it to, like, from an injury standpoint, there is the breakfast segment, the lunch segment, and dinner segment. The patty sits in between those segments as a snack, right? So with that being said, it was just, okay, how can we take it where it fits? And that's the beautiful thing with Crumbs, where it can be a snack from the pizza to the deluxe, and then it can be a dinner as well. But at the same time, we never had something that fit or hit that segment of the breakfast, and that's where it came. And mind you, I'm going to tell you, the research on that were, yeah, we did a lot, long nights for that there. But yeah, the final product was good. The only thing right now is just it will be relaunched soon. It's just once we have a set place in place there.
Okay. I have a question. Now, my background is graphic design. Although I can't draw like this gentleman, graphic design is my thing. And I'm looking at this. I like the logo is dope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Kwame Delfish. Shout out.
Kwame did that.
Yes,
Kwame
yes.
Delfish.
Took a while.
Yeah.
Took almost 2 years there to make.
Okay.
Well, we won't. Kwame, I see you. But no, honestly, I'm going to tell you, if I ever show, and this is the thing where I remember when I was talking to you about, to your point there, sorry, sorry. I can't draw, right? However, I come up with ideas, and if you see the paperwork that coming up to and seeing what he did, and also our coat of arms, it's a beautiful thing, right? And just, again, as we're going into our next phase for Crumbs, I realize that Crumbs is it's bigger than me. And what I mean by that, where it's this year, so I remember early this year, I said to myself, it's what, 7 years? And like, I'm tired. I'm tired of it, because this entrepreneurship thing is not for everyone. And what I mean by that, like, you go into some dark places, if you understand what I mean. And as you know the story, and one thing I must tell everyone, where Kurt and Luel, this journey of Crumbs, if there was a document,
when there's when the doc comes out.
you guys will be in, because at the end of the day, if you know the story, you guys know the story of Crumbs, where the idea when you guys were on Shooter and Young, and I remember I saw a place, or first I came with the idea of Crumbs, and it's funny, you guys never said nay or nay, said, yo, do it, right? And from that, at the time working at Appleton, and I saw a place, and I remember when the place got taken by another patty place, and I came back and I told her, I remember, you remember, Kurt, I was mad. mad, 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 mad. And through that, it was just like, yep, just we work it. And, got to place at Young and Dundas, which was a blessing. And it was just one of those things where it's like everything happens when it's supposed to happen. And as much as sorry, and I would say when God wants it to happen. Let me say that there, right? Because at the end of the day, it's just every little thing that I've gone through up until this is just like it's a journey, right? And it's not for the faint of heart. If you see something, you want it, and especially in something like this, you got to work because nothing comes easy. But at the same time, things start to land in your plane. You have to take it. Sometimes it's not the way you want it, but you just see it and just take it. But as I said, you guys kind of help the journey from being at Young Street, then being across in the shipping containers, right? So you remember that
by
journey?
TMU?
Yeah, yes, Ryerson, yes, yeah, right, yes. And then over to George Brown College, where it was just like, what's going on? And then from there over to where we closed, and it was that point where I said to myself, where it's like, hey, I had to reopen, or you're gonna kill the brand. And the Mary and Magnus allowed me to do a pop-up 2 days a week during COVID in their store. This probably the size of this area here, and we pumped out Patties and just kept the name. So I appreciate them for that, Rasta Pasta family. And then from going over to natural foods over at Potts' location, and then finding a store, because at the end of the day, this is the thing, and this is the Crumbs could be, and I look back and I say Crumbs could be so much further, but at the same time, I have to look at it. Hear me when I say, I needed to be humbled, and it one of these things where I look at from a growth standpoint, where going back to my rum days, I was on a high, right? Where
I remember.
This guy is sick. But yeah, it was like during the time of being Appleton, like man about time, you not to say, and I wasn't boasty about it, but it was just you couldn't. There was
Yeah, we couldn't talk to you. I couldn't talk to you.
yeah, not even that. But it was just you had to mind you, because you're living that life. That's the lifestyle that they wanted, right? So it got caught up, and it was just one of those things where I was on a high, and now going into this whole business ownership and everything, like you go from not needing for anything to sold my house.
It's funny you mentioned people helping you at each step of the way. And you mentioned Kirk and myself, just being a positive inspiration at the beginning. And it's funny that you said, I believed in you. That's not true. He believed in you. I said, no, I'm joking. Right. But when we said, like, you weren't good at graphic design, and you got a friend of yours, like, it also showed that person also believed in you, because he could have, given you a garbage logo.
Yep.
Right. And we recently lost somebody, Andrew Sumo Fullerton, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're at the funeral, that's right.
And he was a big champion as well.
He made our logo, right? Our very first logo. So when he made that for us, we didn't see that that's part of someone else believing in your journey. And I'm just glad to know that it's not unique to anybody. It's definitely something that is comprised of like, that's just the way it is. Like, no one makes it by themselves. And to know that this the logo is just one small part of what the brand is, and it starts with someone else helping as well. And you keep mentioning mentor. I think that young people that are entering entrepreneurship should understand you are the push. You are the person that is going to probably be the face of it, but there are so many people championing behind you to help you reach your goal. So I think that's dope.
And also provide the opportunity. That's key, because championing is one thing, but if the opportunity is not presented, I don't think you can have the champion, but if the opportunity is not presented, it doesn't give any weight.
Yeah, man. I mean, Andrew Fullerton, oh man, like
it's a huge loss. But then I realized when I look at some other people out there, he's also made logos for them or did some type of graphic design elements that help them become a bigger brand. It's just amazing to know that this gentleman also helped so many other people when you don't see it, right? And I'm amazed. And I'm proud of Kwame's work. Kwame's done a lot of
a lot of things.
also
He's
from
working for the
Scarborough.
city.
He's from
yeah,
Scarborough, right?
from Scarborough as well.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
He's from Scarborough, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I joke. I know you're from Scarborough. But it's good to see that, and I'm proud of the work.
No, it's as I said, like it's
Proud of the work, man.
I would tell any.
Oh, I'm now getting it. So all these other dots that are in there. Wow, that comes from the name. So Crumbs, you seen this?
He's asking you if you've seen this.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh,
So there's
man.
crumbs. If you can see it, there's crumbs all over the box, right? But the name is crummy, right? Like it's crumbed up, like the bottom of it. So, okay,
You know what? That's good though.
that's
good.
good. I didn't realize it.
What that shows is that maybe some people might not have noticed, but there's a subliminal thing going on there too. You see the crumbs, but you don't notice that you're actually seeing crumbs.
So did you think it was raining?
No, I just thought it was just part of the box. Like I don't know why, but now when I'm seeing it, it's coming out of the name, which is dope. So and then the patty already has a bite in it, which I didn't know. Did you mimic that from Apple? Or is it okay? Rob and duplicate. Okay.
It's funny, you know what? When you said that, it made me think of something.
Wow.
Before I ask you one last question, it made me think of something when you said how the Rob and whatever that whole technique. I thought, wow, that applies to so many different businesses. I think I think to be great, I think that's the mentality you have to have. It might sound like you said, kind of rough or negative at first, but when we started, there's something that we said.
Steal and get stolen.
That's our business. Our business, it's steal and get stolen. And it sounds cutthroat, but if you really penetrate it, we knew that everyone that came in our doors, coming downtown, starting a barbershop in the area where we're not from, which is unheard of, we knew that everyone that came in obviously had a haircut somewhere else. So we had to steal all those people. And we do also recognize that if we don't keep up our standard of excellence, punctuality, consistency, someone's going to steal it from us.
Yeah.
Right? So it's steal and get stolen. It goes both ways. You just have to steal more than you get stolen.
On.
But at the same time, too, it's just, again, and I don't want to, like, you have to, even though you can steal it, but if you don't see there's a value in it, like, for instance, everyone's doing, as I said to you, everyone's doing a patty, but at the same time, what sets my patty from where, and that's where I think the work begins. The ideal, you can take it from everyone else, but the work begins of now, how are you going to attract people to buy your item or buy into your item? And that's where the rob and duplicate is one aspect where you get the idea, but the work begins now is how do you attract people to buy in or to like that? And it's the beautiful thing, because I'm telling you, one of the things that I truly appreciate is it, along with the adults coming back, it's seeing kids telling their parents to come back to buy crumbs for them, right? That there on a whole different level is just because kids they like it or don't like it, right? And to see kids asking their parents, "Oh, can we go back there?" That's okay.
You know,
And even not even like my daughter sometimes will say, "Daddy, can you make a vegetarian patty?" And this is a lady that does not like vegetables all the time, right? So for her to ask for, and our vegetarian patty has chickpeas inside of it, for her to ask for that is just like, oh, okay, right? So again, what I said, rob and duplicate is just more. It's more than that. You can get the idea from someone else, but it's now, what's the attraction, the buy-in? That's the thing, and that's where the hard work comes into play there.
So I think the thing that stands out to me the most for this whole interview,
Yes. Was your shoes?
Definitely not.
Wow.
What stands out to me the most, what I think is the most beautiful, and I'm not sure if you probably have realized it, but I didn't realize it. The fact that our lives, I believe that our lives are, God knows what our life's going to be like, right? It's preset. And you were, a track athlete. Then you worked almost a decade in the liquor business, and you came and settled in an industry where your mother was a baker, right? And I'm sure you never thought that it would come first full circle. Like you directly, that's where you got that talent from, or that drive, or that, it's in your blood, right? So I thought that was something I didn't know, and that's the most amazing part about all this. But before we wrap it up, I want to know, tell everyone, where is Crumbs going to be in 10 years, and where can they get some?
Huh. For the funny thing is, right now we've closed our locations. And reason for that, there is we're doing a pivot, and it's funny you asking me that. It was around September, October. You're like in your head, what's the next move? Where we were located is in Kensington Market, great place. However, for us, it was a seasonal area, and it's just, I look at Kensington this way. It was a place where we allowed to have a home for 3 years, right? And what I mean by that, so we were, as I said, we were doing a whole bunch of pop-ups, right? I mentioned before, and going to banks with pop-ups doesn't look good on record, like from a financial report. So with that being said, it was, we had 4 years under our belt there, and it's just one of those things where you kind of see and say, hey, there needs to be change. And with that being said, I don't know if you know, but we're going to be featured on Dragon's Den. Okay. Right. So with that being said, it's for those who know, it's going to be on CBC on January 8th at 8:00. And again, even that opportunity in itself is just, it's interesting. And if I may, I'm sorry, this overtime and everything like that there, but I would tell you, this year has been an interesting year, because early this year I said to myself, if things don't move along with just do, I don't know how long I'm going to do it, right? And that's where I was touching where this whole owning your own business, and especially in the restaurant world, is hard and difficult, because again, it's just you by yourself, you trying to maneuver, you being everywhere, and it's just one of those things where this year is where I start to see that Crumbs is bigger than myself, and that takes a lot, because once you build something, you tend to hoard it, and not see that that there's so much potential, right? And yeah, right. So with that being said, it's just like there was a dark year, like I'm going to tell you, and being honest and frank, where when things are not meshing, like things not being paid and all those things, there was a point of time where I remember I looked at my life insurance. You listen to what I'm telling you? I looked at my life insurance, and it was not even, and hear me when I tell you, not suicidal thoughts, but this type of like industry, doing things yourself, it breaks you, right? And that's where I go back to, where I think I need all that hardship of going up and down, not knowing where I'm going to be. It needed to humble myself, because I was on a high from Appleton. Do you understand? And it was just one of those things where, as my mentor used to say, when we had a store over in it was over at Young and Dundas, when we moved over to the shipping containers, one day he saw me, and I was just sitting in the side because there was no customers and everything, and he said, like, I was in a prison. And one of the things what a lot of people don't talk about, especially from a business ownership and an entrepreneur, is the war that you more have to deal with is war with yourself. right? Like and I don't know why people don't talk more about that. Where it's
second guessing yourself.
second,
and,
yes,
yeah.
and especially when things are not working. Because remember, when we were across the street, I was on a high, right, where things were coming. I remember customers used to come and say, "Boss, your prices are too low. We're making money. We're turning." And you come over straight, right over to the next side of the street. When I say the other side of the street,
Yeah.
and you start to, I remember just sitting there. Did I do, like, what am I doing? Right. And for that, it's just, I just said, it was these years of up and down, don't know. It was to bring it down to a level where, hey, you that high that you're on, to take it. Right. And I'm very appreciative for that, because at the end of the day, it's just, as I said, moving forward to where you can now, you ask me 7 years in, and some people will look at it and say, 7 years in, what do you have? So I don't want to go too much into it, but one of the questions were, one of the things is, have you made any profit for Crumbs? And no, you haven't made any profit, but at the same time, the potential is there, you see it, and that's why this year I saw and understood that this thing is bigger than me, right? And for that being said, to your point where for it to grow, you have to make certain pivots. And it's just that chapter of Kensington, it was great. It said it did what it needed to do. You need to close it. We're still doing pop-ups in terms of like a lot of things. Like we're at Wonderland right now. We just finished over at St. Lawrence Market, which is great opportunities. But it's to reset, reshuffle, move around, and kind of move forward from there. Because, as I said, the Crumbs is much bigger than me, and I've seen that Crumbs can go international. And not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but it's Crumbs. Yeah, that's the plan there.
Well, you heard it here first. Crumbs is going international.
International. All right. So you said you had life insurance?
No, no, boss. I'm gonna tell you, I remember,
real, man.
I look at, dog, like,
How come black people don't get life insurance?